Welcome to the Today we have Stephanie Boyd. She's a devoted wife of 31 years, a loving mother, and a proud grandmother of 6. As a pastor's wife, she finds joy in serving her community and nurturing faith in others. With over 21 years of experience as a youth librarian at Willard Library, she has a passion for inspiring young minds through literature. She holds a master's in counseling of education, which allows her to support and guide others with wisdom and compassion. She's a dedicated fur mom who cherishes time spent with her dog, Coffee. In her free time, she enjoys thrift shopping, creating special moments with family, and exploring new culinary delights as a true foodie. Today, Stephanie Boyd will share her personal testimony of getting her physical wellness together.
Hello.
Hello. So thank you for being here and sharing your health journey with us.
Yes.
So just one thing before we get started is that we want to let you know that we know that your personal experience can be deeply meaningful, and we truly appreciate your willingness to share. This is a space where you can share as much as you feel comfortable, and our goal is to honor your story and allow others to learn from your experiences. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, the bio kind of told it all. I'm trying to do something in addition to what the bio says. I think I'm in the era of my life where I am truly enjoying who I am, who God created me to be, and confident in it. And I say that because, you know, there's always some insecurities that come as a woman or a mother or a wife. And the more I grow closer to Christ, the more my confidence increases, and I'm less worried about what other people think and more empowered by what God says about me.
I love that. Love that word, confidence. Can you take us back to the beginning? What was the moment or event that first made you realize you needed to focus on your health?
I believe it was when, right before I was getting ready to turn 40, I started having some health issues, and I believe it was during the holidays. I went to emergency because I thought I was having extreme acid reflux. And what I found was that my blood pressure was extremely high and looked like, had I not come earlier, I would have had a stroke. And so I spent, I think, a lot of the holidays, if I can remember, trying to get that blood pressure together. And from then on out, I knew that I had to get it together because my mom and all of her siblings, they passed away at the age of 51. And even though I was declaring from strokes, high blood pressure, even though I was declaring that wasn't going to be me, I wasn't taking the steps, doing the work for it to not be me. And then I thought, I still have, I'm not even 40 yet. I still have some time to eat whatever I want. And it was that moment that was the crossroads in my life where if I was going to declare that I was going to be around, I had to do the work. So that was over 10, 12, I'm 50, I don't even know how old I am. 56. 56. That was over 12 years ago.
So let me say this. Let me say kudos to you for, heeding the warning signs and making those changes immediately.
Mhm.
Because for a lot of people, including myself, we can get those warning signs,
Mhm.
but we don't change right away.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
That's one thing that I can say is a gift. I don't know if it comes with discernment or if it's just who I am. I'm very in tune to my body. So every time something has gone wrong or I felt something was wrong, and I'm not one to complain a lot. And
mhm.
so something isn't right. My family knows, oh, she know her body. And so instantly, um, I make sure that I'm going to get that checked out. Now, a lot of it could stem from what I've seen from other family members. And
Mhm.
as a fear, I didn't want that to be me. I also had a best friend that died of cancer. And so I'm very in tune, well, I try to be very in tune when something is a little off with my body. And so I'm true to that most of the time.
So did you, and you said that was about 12 years ago. Have you experienced some setbacks in that time or some doubts? And if so, how did you overcome them?
Yes. So I experienced some setbacks because I still wasn't educated on how to keep my blood pressure down. They gave me medication and told me that my blood pressure was up, but because of how I was raised, and my mom, she wasn't but 125. She was skinny,
Mm.
and I had after my second child, I had gained a lot of weight, and so I still wasn't educated or informed on how to keep my blood pressure down, how to eat better. And then because it felt like I was the only one that was working on my health, that was a setback as well. My family's still smashing and I'm still trying to figure out how to keep this blood pressure down. And
Right.
so some of the setbacks becoming more educated on what I need to do. Like just because they give you a pill, that doesn't mean the pill is permission or license you to keep eating.
Mhm.
Because
Right.
I really don't want to have to take a pill because I don't do well with that. And so, yeah, that was my setback. I had lost weight, but then I had gained weight, and then I wasn't doing enough to keep it down. I never
Mhm.
went back into the hospital, and my blood pressure never got that high again, but I still was developing other stuff. So that was my.
Mm. So what were the biggest changes that you made to improve your health?
So I decided that I needed to do the work. I used to, rely on other people. Oh, I want somebody else to go exercise with me. I always wanted a buddy system, but I
Mm.
couldn't.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
again, my family, they were younger and they were on their own path. They weren't thinking about healthiness. They was thinking about
Right.
and where we going to eat and
Right,
heights
right.
and all other stuff. And so I just started doing the research. And then as I started growing spiritually, um, I knew that I had the faith that I was not going to die of an early age of high blood pressure, but I wasn't doing the work. So as I started researching, I started finding healthier ways to eat. Like I eat more protein. I started drinking more water. I started finding I didn't like exercise. And one of the things that I would do is if I knew there was a monumental moment coming, like maybe there's a birthday, or maybe I'm about to turn 50, or maybe I got a wedding to go to, or maybe I need to look a certain size
Mm.
um, to go on a vacation. Oh, I was motivated, I was disciplined, and so
Mhm.
thing all my goals weren't for healthiness. It was for size. It was
Right.
for age. It
For
had
the
nothing to do with
aesthetics.
And so once that clicked, I got tired of doing that, what they call
Yo-yo.
yo dieting. I tried everything. You name it, I've tried it, I've done it. And I don't care what tools you use, weight loss surgery, with Wegovy, whatever it is, those are great, but you still have to do the work
Right.
because I've seen people do it all and still gain the weight back. And
Right.
so
Right.
I stopped. I'm not a drinker. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't drink sugar. I don't drink pop. If I don't do any caffeine. I don't do chocolate. I don't do any of those things. But when I get those cravings, I try to find a substitute. So anything with acid, I don't do well with. So that kind of helped me with the wines and the,
Cutting it out.
carbonation. I don't do any of that. My weakness is chips. So on a good stride, when I'm disciplined, I just try to find a healthier alternative instead of Doritos and Cheetos and barbecue chips. Lord Jesus.
I was gonna ask what was your favorite chip, because you listed them. Those are all good options.
Grinds, because it was low in carbs. So that's good for my body. I don't do a lot of bread, and if I do, it's low carb. But when I started eating the pork rinds, it was high in sodium, and then my blood pressure went back up.
Shot up, yep.
So
Right.
I'm really watching. I was a snacker. To this day I call myself a snackitarian, and that can get to me. And so,
A snackitarian, I like it.
I am.
I like
And
that.
I've been a cake person, not really a candy person. If I did eat candy, it was like Skittles or something like that, or Payday because it wasn't chocolate. But cookies, ooh, I don't even bring them around me because that is sin for me. So
Gotta get right on that. Yes.
I try to not eat those things. But occasionally and I'm also an emotional eater. And so I have to recognize when things are happening, food was my go-to because I am a foodie. I love food. Now I'm saying a lot of things that I don't eat, but I do eat. I gets it in. And so
Yes.
sometimes when I'm high in my emotion, I do go to the things that I know that I shouldn't. And when I've gone too far, this is where my faith comes in. I literally have to fast because if someone tells me, let's go 3 days with not drinking water, or if I make it a diet thing, like I'm going 3 days of cleansing, that is a great idea and it does work. But something in my mind, as soon as I know that we're doing 3 days, I can't do it. I cannot
need it.
Yes. However, when someone says, let's do 3 days cleanse, or if I decide to do intermittent fasting, which is a fad, or a tool that people use on my own, it doesn't work. But when I say, okay, Lord, I've gotten out of control with my eating. I can't get this craving back under control. I'm just going to fast. And when I decide that I'm going to fast, I can do it. But something with that brain and to do something, it's really a physiological thing that I'm not a doctor to explain. But I know once I go off the cliff of eating something that I can't, then I just spiral into a crazy lady. And it
takes one little piece.
One little piece.
Like, I'm just gonna have a little nibble of this chocolate. I'm gonna just have one little chip, and next thing you know, here you go. You're going back to the bag 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times.
It's like a crazy lady. And then I went to a birthday party for one of our church members, and he brought some homemade cookies for her, and he was like, "You gotta try these." And I tried them, And then he brought him to church the next day. And before I knew it, I could eat five in one setting, and I was out of control. And the older you get, it's harder. You gain weight quicker, and it's hard to get.
Mhm.
And so I was like, okay, Lord, now I'm out of control. I really need your help. And I tell you, every time when I include him in something that I know that I can't do on my own, something about that brain and the spirit and the will to do it, it helps me get past that hard part. So
I love that. Do you feel like the changes that you've made have impacted some of your relationships? I feel like you've shared about how it's impacted your mindset as far as having to rely on God and, having to do a fast. But what has that been like for your relationships?
so the first thing was my husband and I. Like I used to just sit back and look like, okay, y'all go ahead. Yep, y'all just get on my nerves eating all this stuff. And, and so I would encourage him to at least go to water aerobics because I don't like to exercise. And so let me change that. I didn't like to exercise. And I'm not one of those, Mr. Odell, Miss Wanda, go to the fitness center, lift the weights, and that do not like to be in pain, and I don't like the pain afterwards. I don't know what that is, but I don't like
I
it.
love it.
And I love the pain, but go
I
ahead.
love the after the workout burn. I love it.
That's another story. But I decided to try water aerobics because I do like the water. And years ago, I started going to Sherman Lake doing water aerobics. And I started to see the difference. I started to feel the difference, and it didn't feel like exercising. And so then I encouraged my husband to come with me. And then he started going and he enjoyed it. And then he kept it going, and I stopped going because then it was a hair thing. I'm like, this is my hair.
Right.
So, that was the first start. So it really brought my husband and I closer together as far as the health part of it, because I felt like I was doing it on my own. And so then he started doing exercises. And then, some things came up in his life, and they're like, you better get together. And so then he started exercising. And then the other thing, it just helped my relationship with people because I used to exercise because I wanted to look a certain way. But what I'm finding, and I know that it's been told to me, but I'm finding for myself that if I don't exercise first thing in the morning, it affects the rest of my day, my mood, my
Yep.
mental. And so it does something to me mentally that helps my relationships at work. So I won't have to pop off on somebody that's
Yes.
because it's a full moon or something like that. I'm able to
Yes.
deal with different types of relationships a little bit better because I feel better at what I'm doing. And the other thing that I don't do is, this is probably another question, some of the steps. I don't get on the scale because if I get on the scale, I'm either going to sabotage myself because I'm like, oh, look at me.
Right.
Or if I'm exercising and my clothes feel good, but the scales are not reflecting or it looks like I gain weight, then I'm discouraged. And so
Mhm.
a little bit, mostly when I go to the doctor, and then I close my eyes and make sure I go first thing in the morning and have very little clothes on so that it looks like it. But I don't get on the scale either. I know I'm bouncing around, but most of the time, I mean, to answer your question, it's all about when I'm doing what I'm supposed to do as far as exercising, and that's doing stuff that I enjoy. It's not lifting weights. I'll find a YouTube that's just, I love walking. So any marching that I can do, any dancing, anything that I enjoy, I'm going to do it. And then I'm not a person that likes to do the same thing every day. I like variety. And so once I have found some things that I enjoy, then it improves my relationship with myself. And then I'm able to deal with other people outside of the home.
Gotcha.
I love that. I can agree to that. The workout the first thing in the morning, it sets the tone for the day. And when I was able to go first thing in the morning, the first day that I didn't go, I was like, whoa, we got to
Right.
go back to that.
Yeah.
You can feel it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But let me say this real quick. You know how you don't like getting on the scale? First, the scale is a liar. It just is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right?
Right.
But I find myself, I gotta get on every morning.
Mhm.
Every morning. Yeah, it doesn't set me back if I'm up or if I'm down. So
Um,
yeah, so that's a good thing.
yeah, that
But
is.
I have to know where I'm at.
Mm.
I
That's
don't know.
good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. But I realized that it was a liar when I looked so much better. I could look in the mirror and look, thinner. I could fit smaller size clothes. But that number on the scale, I'm like, I should not weigh 220 pounds.
Mhm.
Right? Because I looked, fit. I
yeah.
felt fit.
Right.
So yeah, we don't listen to the scale.
Mm-mm. Not at all.
So
You ready for your next question, Wanda?
oh sure. What advice would you give somebody who is starting their journey?
I would say water, pray. You can't do it on your own. Um, give it, give it unto God and let them know
Mhm.
this is my weakness. I can't do this on my own, but with you, I know I can. So that's the spiritual part of it. The second part, faith without works is dead. You got to do the work, and it is important to move. And so, even if you can't go to the Y, if you can't afford, any gym at this, most of the time, I can't go first thing in the morning anymore because we are grandparenting first thing in the morning. And so, I find things that I like at um, at home through YouTube. I've found sit down things if weight or knees or hips are a problem. I've found chair exercises, walk around the house. What I'm doing now is I'm trying to kick up my movement a little bit more. So when I'm at work, instead of sitting down at my desk, I'm walking around. I'm walking
Mm,
around all the time, getting my steps in. So I would encourage people to pray. I would encourage them to get liquid in. Um, Water is important. If you don't like water, add a Crystal Light. Drink tea, and try to just slowly get away from the things that are your nemesis. Like if you know that you like pop, most of the time it's not the pop, it's the sugar. So they have so many different substitutes for things that we want.
Yes.
They have zero calories. They have caffeine free. There's zero sugar. There
mhm.
I found
Yes.
the substitutes for everything. Bread. If you are a bread person, they have, Carb Smart, lower calorie,
Yeah.
um, different substitutes for everything. Um, and a lot of times people say, um, I can't afford to. You can't afford not to because in the end, you're
Amen.
going to end up spending. Either if you don't get it right on this side, then you're going to be spending all this money on medication and
Yes.
things like that. And
Right.
so you don't have to. All these, there's so many different places that are offering, healthy food at a less expensive price.
Right.
Yeah, so those are the main things. Just, and don't do it for a look.
Mhm.
Do it for your health and watch the look come.
Right.
Because it has nothing to do with size. My mom, like I said, my mom was 125, 135 at the max, and she still had a stroke, and died because she didn't eat healthy, and she had a lot of stress, and there's just a lot of things that she should have gotten away from.
Right.
I eat um, I don't eat pork anymore, except for bacon.
Mhm.
I give that its own field.
Bacon is its own
Its
category.
own category, right?
I even tried turkey bacon, and I'll do that, but got to have me some bacon,
I love some turkey bacon.
and I stay away from beef, because I don't do well with that. But I like chicken and fish, and so you have to do what you feel comfortable, and don't make it about weight or the way you look. Think about it as getting your health together,
Mhm.
and everything else kind of falls into place.
Yeah. So so you mentioned a lot,
Yeah.
right? You mentioned a lot. What would you say? Because I believe small changes, right? You can't make like 101 changes at one time, or it's
Mhm.
harder. I won't say a person won't stick to it, but it's harder to stick to. What would you say are the top 3 or 4 things people should do? The top.
Pray and ask God for guidance. Like, what is the top 3? What is the top things that is the hardest? Like, if you don't stop, it's going to turn you into, a diabetic or high blood pressure. So that's
Right.
where the prayer comes from. For me, I knew it was bread. So
Mhm.
for me, I got away from the bread, and I tried to find a substitute, and I got away from the pop.
Mm.
And those were my top 3: praying, and that's what I needed to do. I needed to get away from the bread, and I need to get away from the pop. Now, what does that have to do with high blood pressure? Something about those 2 things always triggered me to want something more. So I may
Mhm.
eating a lot of bread. If I'm eating a lot, then protein is what fills you up the fastest.
Right.
Mhm.
And so none of those were all empty, whatever they call them. It was
Empty
nothing
carbs.
up. And so I guess that would be the other thing. Eat more protein. So if you
Mm.
have time to eat your protein first, because
Mhm.
protein fills you up
Right.
the quickest. So
Yes.
that would be mine.
I love that.
Well, all right.
Mhm. So we had mentioned at the top that you're doing life groups at Love in Action.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share a little bit about those?
Sure. So we had been praying about, Pastor and I had been praying about what we needed to do, um, what God wanted us to do to take Love and Action to another level. And just from our experience, we were noticing a lot of people, they had the faith, um, saved, were trying to be uh, faithful in coming to church, but because of life happening, um, the struggles, we weren't seeing the joy. And
Mm.
so um, we recognized that we needed to show people that life and the Bible can go hand in hand. You just got to know where to find it. And then we asked them about what groups should we focus on for the first 6 weeks. And so the mind is so strong that if you have toxic thinking, I don't care where you're at spiritually, it's just hard for you to do life.
Right.
And so we came up with 6 classes. People can take 3 classes they can take 1 class on Tuesday or 1 class on Sunday. So we offer 6 classes, 3 on a Tuesday, 3 on a Sunday, and people choose 1 per 6 weeks on a Sunday and 1 on a Tuesday. And then we'll rotate. And so the classes on Tuesdays are toxic thinking, the art of discipline, prayers that get results. And then the classes on Sundays are forgiveness, forgiving what you can't forget, managing the time God gives you, so redeeming our time, and boundaries. And we feel like these are the classes that the Holy Spirit told us that we needed to do first. And then after we go through, everybody has the opportunity to go through all the classes. He already has given us other classes that we're going to do. So the life groups are designed for people to connect, grow, and do life together using the Word of God.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So how can people find you on social media?
They can find me on social media through Facebook, which is automatically connected to Instagram. I hardly ever use it, but that's already connected. And they'll see me on Love and Actions Facebook as well.
Okay, so Love and Action has a Facebook page?
Yes.
Okay. 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 So let's have some fun.
Okay.
All right. Or at least we think it's fun. We like to play a game called Healthy Confessions.
Okay.
Okay. Tell a fun fact about yourself that people don't know.
I would say my fun fact is I believe Skinny Pop Popcorn is a food group. Like if I can't think of nothing else to eat, I will eat popcorn. Like I'll eat that before I eat anything.
Really?
That's
With
it.
butter, salt, hot sauce?
No, it's just a Skinny Pop. You can buy it at the store. You can buy it. It even comes in microwave. I do popcorn. I'll even go to when I want to, go a little bit, get unhealthy. I'll go to the movie theater and I'll just go buy popcorn and not go to the movies. I'll just go get the popcorn.
Really? Okay.
I heard someone else say they do that.
It used to be peanut butter. I would just eat it out of the spoon. I mean, the spoon, eat it out of the thing, but that doesn't do well with my acid reflux. So that's popcorn it is.
Yeah. See, I'm a peanut butter fanatic. Anything peanut butter. Yeah. So let me tell you, I have chocolate chips and peanut butter chips. They're not chocolate chips. And I keep them in a jar and I just put a handful when I want something sweet. And then I'll just leave the kitchen. Right? So I'm not eating a lot of calories, but I'm getting my peanut butter fix.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes.
So one more. What are you most excited for? Like, what excited you today?
The weather. The weather.
Yes.
Excited. Yes. I was outside putting in lights and the weather makes me happy. I love warm weather.
Yes. I love spring.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm excited for spring
Thank you for
too.
playing.
Well, we appreciate your time today, and we hope and pray that this topic has been beneficial to you. And we hope that you learn why physical and spiritual health is important.
Well, thank
Yes.
you. It's been fun.
Yeah. So, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We believe that everyone deserves to live a whole and healthy life. Everyone. We hope and pray this topic, as Brandy said, was beneficial. Our health is so important,
It is.
right? And we got to take care of ourselves.
Yes.
And something that I like to say is we got to show up, but show up as the healthiest version of yourself,
Right.
right? Because you're needed. And this is for all the listeners as well. You know, we're needed. Our skills, our talents, and our abilities, we're needed.
Right.
So,
Man,
I appreciate what you all are doing.
yes,
thank you.
yes.
Want to see, right?
I'm sorry?
We're going to be the change we want to see.
Yes.
Yes, 100%.
So,
Thank you.
So you've been listening to the Soul Session, Mind, Body, and Spirit. Remember, true wellness begins when all three are in balance. Join us next time as we continue the journey within.
that's right. And comment, like, and share. All right. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Miss Stephanie.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
You